You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Bronny Boo, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Still a little tired.
I'll be fine in 2 minutes. I'm sure you'll trigger me and I'll forget about being tired.
I don't have too many triggering things today. We got through the triggering things of the week on the live episode.
I got to tell you, I'm still shocked about the Columbia University thing. I really am. That's fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
People
who don't know, I guess you want to fill them in.
Patreon members, so they
and they didn't show up in person.
Yeah,
so I guess for the people, I mean,
fuck them.
We had our first live event this Thursday.
It was great.
So we're recording this on Sunday, but on Thursday, the 18th, we had our first live ever podcast, which was super fun.
Great turnout, great venue. Acoustics were a little bit hard because we were outside as our first one.
It was our first time ever. And we didn't next time we need to get a professional sound thing and do the whole shebang.
Oh, we'll pick a place. Like we talked to those two other places that already have the whole sound system in place because they have bands there and everything.
Right.
And the stage. So we'll do that.
But we had a great time.
Great time. We had a lot of fun.
And
met nice people.
Oh my God, we had fans from all over the country.
Really
there with us. It was unbelievable.
We really, really, really nice people like Caesar, Jaybird.
Yeah, and we were hanging out after.
What was the girl from Arizona? I forget her name.
And
then a girl.
Sorry,
and then the girl,
she's listening.
The girl who came with her dad.
No, yeah,
she was
Stephanie.
Was Stephanie?
That's Stephanie.
Very nice girl. No, really.
Yeah, we had a bunch of Patreon people and TikTok fans.
A lot of Zoomers.
Yep. It was really
nice.
fun.
Really
We're definitely going to do more. We want to do them. I mean, how cool would that be to go all over the country? Go to every city.
We're far from that point.
We're far from it, but
it's not out of that.
Did you ever think that we'd even be doing one in Delray Beach?
And I got to tell you, really, they're friends. They're friends of mine now.
Yeah. No, well, after doing that Instagram live, we realized. So I don't know if everyone was able to join us, but this week we did a live Instagram. We went live on Instagram and we were bringing fans on with us and chatting.
Which we're going to do Tuesday night as well. We're going to do Tuesday at 10:15 Eastern.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing that.
We do. We
go on TikTok live, but not Instagram.
But we'll start with TikTok and then we'll say, once we get a decent amount, we say, let's move over to,
yeah.
Or how are we doing that?
No, we can. I mean, now it's too late. So we're doing it.
It's not too late. We could do whatever we want. Well, we always start with TikTok. So we'll go from there, right?
Yeah, but it was so fun. It's just really cool meeting people that we don't know, but they know us and enjoy what we do.
Nice
and
people.
We get enjoyment out of them.
Oh yeah. What about Joey? So, Joey's another listener, Patreon member, and he doesn't have any parents, grandparents raise him, and he doesn't have a lot of direction. And so he wants to go into the armed forces. So I put him in touch. So Saturday, this past yesterday.
This past yesterday, yeah.
We had, you're so funny. So we went ahead and I put him in touch with the next captain of Marines, and we did about a half an hour Zoom call with him and giving him advice and everything. And it's really nice that we can help these people and have somewhat of an influence on them. It was great.
Yeah. Super nice.
And I love these people, the people that came to the fucking live thing. It was I enjoyed the company, enjoyed hanging with them, and we hung with them afterwards for hours. And
we were smoking cigars with fans and hanging out.
There's no doubt Jaybird and Rosie and Caesar will be hanging with 100%.
Yeah.
No, great people.
Also, by the way.
Yes, Bronny.
Nice shirt you're wearing.
You like it? Yeah, the Jon and Bron 24.
We are wearing our official merch, everyone. So if you're listening.
Does it make me look like man boobs or it's okay?
No, it does not.
Right, no problem.
You just have the man boobs already.
I do not have the man boobs, just to make sure that it doesn't accentuate it.
It doesn't. So we're wearing our official merch for the first time to the public ever. It is on sale officially as this episode drops. So if you go as you're listening to this episode, or hopefully you're watching, because then you can see what we're wearing.
Yeah, very cool.
But if you're listening and you want to check them out, go to daddyissuesthepodcast.com/shop. And
that's a lot. Say that again.
daddyissuesthepodcast.com/shop. The links are also all on our shit, but
they're comfortable. They're really cool. Too. Very comfortable.
I'm wearing a shirt that just says "A Woman." Dad's wearing a Jon and Bron 2024 shirt. Not that we'll ever run, but it's just kind of a joke.
Right. And it's the same colors from the Reagan Bush.
Would you ever run for office?
No way. Excuse me. No
What's
way.
wrong? You every third word you're coughing.
I don't know.
Are you right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. Yes,
What?
I'm good.
And we have another one. Can you get the black one, the black shirt?
No, you're going to really go get it?
No, fine. Okay, fine.
It's another nice
We have a third shirt, which is my favorite. I think it's the coolest one. And it actually like has our logo on it and shit, and it has our faces on it.
Right, I'm going to go get it.
No,
now.
no. Well, we can leave it as a surprise. So if people want to see that one, they'll have to go online, I guess, to see it.
They go online to order it anyway, right? They have to go online and order it.
Yes.
So they'll
but they
see
don't
it
know
online.
what they're ordering.
Well, go online and order and look at it. But it's so funny, Bronny.
Nothing. Yeah. No. So we're really
The
excited.
shirts are beautiful. I love them.
We're really excited
That's
that
dirt over there. She's got to clean those chairs. All right, go ahead.
we keep moving them in and out.
She's still got to clean.
Mom. So Santa the other day, what she was like, was Mom eating frozen yogurt last night? And I go, yeah. How did you know? And she goes, oh, it was all over her chair and it was like a mess around her.
Oh no, it was Bubby.
No,
I got.
no,
Bubby,
but also
I got Bubby yogurt.
Santa said Mom is as messy as Bubby when she eats. She said that Santa always cleans up Mom's area and Bubby's area of the table, and it's always disgusting.
So I got to look forward to it. And Mom's so much younger than Bubby.
She said, I was shocked, but she was like, nope, Mom is very messy. Her there's
Nelly,
always crumbs.
Nelly, that's not a good thing. That's a problem.
Well, even today at breakfast,
What happened
at breakfast, Dad goes, last night we were going to bed.
No, don't say that. Don't just keep that out. Leave
No,
that out.
I have to say it now.
Honestly, you're not saying that. Mom will be upset. Don't say it. No, do not say it.
I have to now.
No, you're not saying that. I'm
This is
muting
a safe
you.
space.
Off. Bronny's off. It's now the John show.
This is a safe space in the podcast.
Seriously, Bronson, you're not saying it. It's not. No, you're not saying it. Let's move
Wow.
on. Yeah, well, I was right.
Stifling me.
Yes, I
Who
am.
are you? The libtards, as you would say?
Don't say that. That's like a Gen X thing. I don't know why you would say the libtards. It makes you sound stupid. Why don't you say the left?
You're Gen X.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. So it would be a Gen X thing. Yeah.
There goes Tickle Me Bronson. Drink
We
that.
also got these dope ass cups that were sent to us by a
what's an
fan.
ass cup?
Oh, you don't want to know what an ass. There actually are ass cups, I think. Right? Like
Look it up, Bronny. Look it up.
there are things like what's
look it up. What's
no,
an
what's
ass
that called?
Butt plug?
No, when you're at the hospital and you like poop into a thing. What's that called?
Bedpan.
A bedpan. That's an ass cup. Isn't that what would an ass cup be if not a bedpan?
Let's look what an ass cup is. This is where it's going. I'm sorry, listeners.
The first thing that comes up is Etsy ass cup.
Oh, Etsy, who made this?
Yeah. They're just cups that have asses on them. That makes sense. Okay. Well, anyways, one of our fans, this is her business, and she made these cups for us, and they're super cool, and we love them.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Jon and Bron, and then Daddy Issues.
Cheers.
Very nice. No, I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
You know where cheers comes from. You do know.
I do know where cheers comes from. Should we tell listeners?
Sure. So for everyone who doesn't know,
Does everyone know we go, I like it a lot? Do you know what's the movie that's from?
no.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
I like it a lot.
On my date last night, we cheersed, and then
You cheers? Is that it? Or
we cheersed.
that's
What
not a
would
word? Cheers?
we did a cheers. What would you say?
You don't say we cheers.
What would you say?
I don't know, but you don't say that.
So what would you say?
We toasted each other.
We cheersed.
No, I don't think that's correct. No, I don't agree with you. But that's okay. So tell me about, Brian, tell us about your date.
So we did one of those, and then right away I was like, do you know where cheers comes from? And I couldn't help myself.
Of course not.
I was like, probably she doesn't care about me telling her this fact about ancient Rome, and that's where cheers comes from. But I did it anyway. I couldn't help myself.
All right. So why don't you not help yourself and tell everybody, our viewers today,
Well, cheers is
where everybody knows your name?
in ancient Rome.
You know where that comes from?
Yes.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yes.
I've been to the Cheers bar in Boston.
Yes.
It's kind of shitty. It's like a TGI Fridays.
Gotcha.
Not that there's anything wrong with TGI Fridays, but it's objectively
Are they
shitty.
even around TGI Fridays?
I think it's just called Fridays now.
Okay.
So anyways, Cheers is in ancient Rome. They would, whenever they would do business, they would always do it over wine. And so they would clink their wine glasses.
The metal goblets. They would put in metal goblets.
They would have their wine filled up all the way to the top of the cup, and they would clink it together so that a little bit of my wine got into your glass and a little bit of yours got into mine, to ensure that we were trustworthy of each other and that they weren't
not
poisoned.
poison each other. Right.
Right. Oh, were you telling? Oh, Did you want to tell the fact?
Yes, I wanted to tell a little better so it was a little clearer because yours was really not that engaging.
You know how you made it clearer? By repeating the exact word I said. I said poisoned and you go poisoned. Yeah, so thanks for making it clearer, Dad.
You got to set the setting. So in the Roman era.
Oh, okay, so now we're really going.
Yeah,
so you're making it more clear by doing it longer.
Setting.
I'm glad
so they would do a lot.
So we're 10 minutes in. We're going to lose half our audience now. All right, here we go. So this week, a big trend.
Oh, God.
A big trend in the last couple years, but especially this week, I was finding a lot of I was reading like a lot of headlines about it. I wasn't even searching them. I just was, as I was online, I just saw thing after thing. Maybe because it's like International Women's History Month or Women's History Month. It was International Women's Day a couple weeks ago, but the whole month of March.
And we talked about it. It's not that for international women, it's women all over the world.
Those are the same thing you just said.
No, I mean like if we're in America, remember we talked about this. I know I'm trying to be funny, but saying to be clarified, it's all women. It's not just international women.
You're saying the exact same thing twice.
No, I'm not.
That's like saying it's not about your dad. It's about John and Bloom. It's like, yes, those are the same thing.
No, you're 100% wrong.
International women. When you say international women, that means every woman from all over the world
falls under America.
That's not true.
No.
Dad, so when they celebrate International Women's Day in Guatemala, are they doing it for every country except America?
When you talk about International Women's Day, I understand it's women all over the world. However,
is America not part of the world?
It should not be. All right, move on, Bronson, because I don't agree with you on that.
You don't agree on the definition of international?
Yes, it's every woman across the board.
International means between nations. International, right? Are we not a nation in the world?
Yes, we are. You're 100% correct.
Oh, God.
What?
So a lot of headlines I saw this week were about toxic masculinity. That was like a big thing this week.
What is that?
It must be because Women's History Month. So like this was published in Psychology Today, which is like a psychology magazine. This was published last week. It says, what is toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity is the reason why women do not feel safe in the streets.
Of course.
Toxic masculinity is the result of a set of strict rules that prescribe what being a man should be. These man rules include a man should suffer physical and emotional pain in silence. A man shouldn't seek warmth, comfort, or tenderness. A man should only have the emotions of bravery and anger. Any other emotions are weakness. A man shouldn't depend on anyone. And a man should always want to win, whether in sports, work, relationships, or sex. Those are masculine things.
Okay, well...
And those are all negative.
You're saying they're negative?
I think that a man should suffer physical and emotional pain in silence is a negative thing to teach people.
Okay, number one is, so who came up with this? This sounds like this is in favor of helping men. This is not a negative against men. This sounds like it's a thing to help men. That's how I take it.
It's saying that there are parts of masculinity that are not good, and that it's put women in danger. That's how they spin it.
Okay.
Because the headline is toxic masculinity is the reason why women do not feel safe.
So let's realize how fucked up that is, because what toxic masculinity, if they're saying those are the traits of what makes of masculinity toxic, then it's to the advantage of men to become better men. It has nothing to do with women and making them feel unsafe.
No, they're saying
that's pretty fucked up.
When men do those things, like those traits create a culture where men are violent and rapists.
Why? How is that make a man violent? What's that make a man violent? There's not
I get that. A man should always want to win. Can make you like aggressive and competitive.
No. Competitive? What's wrong with competitive?
A man shouldn't seek warmth, comfort, or tenderness. That's definitely a thing you're taught as a guy.
Okay, but why does that make a woman feel unsafe?
Because I could see those things leading to a culture where it's...
Okay, let me explain something.
Men are like aggressors.
No. Do you really feel that way, or are you just having a conversation?
Both. Okay. I definitely feel that men are more violent than women in general.
Really?
That's factual. Just look at criminals.
There's plenty of women that are violent. Look how many women are in jail.
Of course. I didn't say men are the only violent.
You know how many women are abusive and physically abusive to their men?
Wait, Dad, I never said men are the only violent. I
get it, but
I said I feel that men are. I feel that males in general, in the animal kingdom, males are more violent and aggressive. We've had to be in evolution.
Correct.
Evolution shaped men into that because they had to protect their tribe. They had to protect the village.
And provide.
They had to fight.
Right.
They had to kill.
But when I look at those traits, which I think there's a lot of truth in those factual statements, not that women are unsafe as a result of it.
Here it says it here.
What? Go ahead.
So it says the consequence of this kind of messaging is boys becoming men who are emotionally blunt and find it hard to connect with others, particularly their girlfriends or wives if they're heterosexual. In most cases, these messages make it difficult for these men to have a good relationship with their partners. In the worst of cases, it can transform into rage and unfortunately murder. Toxic masculinity doesn't only kill women.
They're going
that far.
They're going from fucking 0 to 100 in a second. They're saying because if a man, let's say, doesn't want to talk about his feelings or thinks about the fact that if he talks about it and it's shameful and it's weak if you become vulnerable, these are all things that are just normal that people want to get therapy over or learn or grow. The point is, it doesn't make you fucking a rapist or a murderer.
No, but they're saying it could lead to that. I don't know if it could.
Bullshit. That does not lead to that.
I think if you're a murderer,
you're a murderer.
That's who you are.
You're bad.
It's not because of the culture that you were like raised in.
Because your father.
But then again, there are like crimes of passion where you know good people who made a mistake. But that happens.
But that I think could be man or woman.
Yes, but I think it's like over 90% of murderers. Or like murderers are men.
Because the men are physically stronger. I'm sure there's plenty of women that would want to fucking murder men if they can physically do it.
I think we have killing more ingrained in our DNA than women do. Like I said, we evolved for that.
But Bronson, if a man is not a good communicator or doesn't want to talk or thinks vulnerability is weak, that does not make him a murderer or a rapist. That make a woman feel unsafe. Give me a fucking break.
I agree with that, but I also don't think that those are great things that we are taught as men.
But that's a different issue. We could talk. I'm happy to talk about that because I'm 100% happy to talk about that. However, this is the theory that women or society wants men to become doormats and a bunch of wimps and pussies. And the reality is, if a man from, let's say, my father's generation, who is a hard-ass generation, and now I'm more of a hard-ass than you are, and maybe you'll become, who knows, maybe your kid, based on your generation, to be so wimpy and so women-like that when you have a kid, maybe men will give birth. Who knows?
Well, men do give birth now.
Yeah, but you
trans men.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which, how about trans people?
Well, no, trans men.
I think that's fucking far-reaching. I think that's offensive. I think some of those statements are true and accurate about traits of men and what happens with society of men and upbringing of men, but it doesn't make them dangerous or rapists or murderers. That's a fucking far stretch. And that's
do you think men are more dangerous than women in general?
They are, because they're more fit. They're physically stronger.
Do you think if women were physically stronger, you would, like, let's say a woman, like you take a random woman and man who are equally fit and equal, like they bench the same, right? Let's say, so they're equal of strength.
If she's a dude, then if she benches the same as the guy.
No,
I think
you could have a like most serial killers are puny, dorky guys. Most of the top serial killers are not strong people.
There's plenty of dangerous women out there. Plenty.
Oh, of course.
Look at the jail system. What's going on in prison?
Right, but the prison system is way more men than women. Way more. How are you disagreeing that men are more violent than women?
I'm not disagreeing.
Men are definitely more violent than women. Factually, like there are literally stats for that. And also I just feel that. I'm more afraid of men than women. Absolutely.
Afraid?
Yes. Not that I'm ever... If you're walking down the street of New York City... Yes,
I understand.
You're going to be more cautious of a man than of a woman. Absolutely.
That's okay.
No, but
what's so bad about that? So we need to change that too?
No, but
what is it we need to change about that?
I never said the word change.
What's the issue?
I said men are definitely more violent than women, and I'm more afraid of men than I am of women.
Right. So what?
But you were disagreeing with me, and then I gave that example in New York, and you said yes.
I think because men are physically stronger. If there were women, if we were in a society where women were physically stronger, you might feel differently. You might feel like, I don't have to worry about that guy. This guy's a little guy, but the fucking woman's 6'8" and she's a big chick, and she can kick your ass. You might feel
it's not even like a physical thing that I'm thinking of.
No,
not
it is a physical thing.
It's a violence thing.
No, it's not. Please, you don't think it's 100%.
Most killers are not. Most murderers are not Joe Rogans and Jocko Willinks. They're not giant jacked men. They're normal people like me. Not that I'm a killer, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. I don't know the stats. I don't know the ratio of men to women in this world. I don't know about the upbringings. I don't know the fact that men are usually the breadwinners and deal with stresses. Who the fuck knows? Do men get more into drugs than women? Are there more men from broken homes without fathers?
Right, but
I don't know.
Those are all factors, yes, that lead to the
if those
conclusion.
are all factors, fine. But if there were more, if you take that and put a female in that role instead of a male, maybe it'd be completely the same way just with women. So I don't know. So maybe is it factually true that more men are dangerous? That could be factually true. But if you look at the reasons behind it,
right? But the reasonings behind it are moot because it is what it is. The reasonings to get to the conclusion don't matter when you both arrive at the same conclusion.
No, because I'm trying to do some sort of analysis, and maybe it could be if
I think it's a DNA thing, not a cultural thing. Okay. I think it's both.
I don't know. I think there's just fucking crazy people out there, but I don't think those comments about men that taught to keep your feelings in, to not be vulnerable and so forth, I think those are true. Those are traits of men. That's just the way it is. I don't think it's right. I think men should be able to feel differently. But on the same token, it's a catch-22 where on one hand that women want the women to be women and the men to be women, but on the other hand they want the men to be men, and these are mixed messages. So who knows?
That's definitely true.
You can't, it's like you see these like police officers or firefighters or alpha type personalities, and they're out there in the trenches every day and doing these hard things. And then they get home, this is who they are. They become successful in their career. Like for example, like a police officer, it's a certain personality. They go to become a police officer. They're in the trenches every day doing their thing, dealing with the shit scum of the fucking society we deal with. And then they come home and their wife wants them to be like a puppy dog. It's a certain mentality. It becomes goes to a certain career path and so forth, or lead or whatever. And then you're supposed to flick a switch. And then when you get home, you're on one hand, you're a pit bull or Doberman. And when you get home, you're like a little poodle. It doesn't work. It's not so easy. It's not. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, but
then isn't that also the guy's fault for?
Why is it gotta be a fault?
If you're coming home and you're being forced into changing from a pit bull to a poodle by your wife, that's your fault. You got to say to your wife, "No, I'm not a fucking poodle."
I get it,
right?
What I'm saying is that women usually, are like softer, more emotional. They want to talk about things more, whatever. And guys just are not. I don't think men are wired that way. Men are more problem solvers, fixers. They just want to. We cut to the chase a little bit quicker. We solve the solution. Women are very different. That's just the way it is. I think men and women are wired differently, and why change that?
I think part of it's wiring. I also think part of it is cultural. You're taught as a boy that what you feel doesn't matter, that if you're upset and you'll get over it, man up. You're taught all those things. I don't think that's very well. I think it's helpful in some aspects, that it's not helpful in other aspects.
But does everything need a discussion? Does everything need to be sit down and say, "Tell me, little Bobby, what's going on"? How about
yes. The answer is yes. I think so.
I don't.
So you said when a kid has a problem, I'm trying to think, if I was a teacher and if all my kids had problems, I think it would be helpful for them to talk about the problems instead of ignore them. I think that's a helpful thing in a human's brain.
Okay. I don't think there's a down. Well, so let me just think for a moment.
I think pushing down problems only exacerbates them.
That's true. But
we've had evidence of that in our own lives, our own personal lives.
But why is it, listen, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is that does everything need to be discussed? Shouldn't some people be able to figure things out on their own rather than always having the help to figure out? There's always not going to be a safety net there. People need to sometimes figure things out on their own and get through it. And I always use the word perseverance.
Well, it's not an all or none thing, Dad.
No, I'm not saying this. I'm just having a conversation. I'm just having a conversation.
I rarely share when I'm stressed about something or worried or have a problem or whatever. I usually just work it out in my own head.
Well, we know when you're stressed.
That's me. That's how I work. I just figured out on my own. But I also think it's valuable to know that there's the opportunity, if I want to share it. It's not an all or none. It's not that it's not that I have to share all my problems or none of them.
I didn't say that, did I?
You did. You said, do we have to have everything discussed?
No, that's not an all or nothing.
You said, do we have to have everything discussed?
Let me be very clear. That doesn't mean it's all or nothing.
No, but I feel like I'm a great example of it where I don't discuss a lot of things, but there are a few times where I would like to discuss things.
Okay, and why do I stop you from doing that? Seriously?
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
Not so much with me, more so with like Bryce.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it? Give me an example. First of all, I always make sure my kids, I tell them that I'm always here for you.
You are.
Always.
But even like through this conversation, like you'll listen back and you'll hear you immediately, when I bring up something that's like sensitive, right? That like is typically like a sensitive thing to say. I don't mean sensitive as like insensitive. I mean like sensitive as emotional or something, right? That kind of sensitive. You immediately dismiss it. Like I said, I think it's nice to share things. You're like, do we have to share everything? That right? But
I'm just opposing the opposite side.
Right, but I know that you care, but you immediately meet emotion with defense. So that stifles it immediately. That's who you are. That's how you were raised. That's what I think a lot of this stuff is talking about. Like just man up and stuff, which is okay. I think there's benefits to that. To like a little bit of tough love and like man up. I actually don't think it's a bad thing. But I also think it's beneficial to always be able to have a like forum to share whatever you want, whether it be like in therapy or elsewhere. And you do, but you have to like break through a few layers. So that's why like when Bryce goes through shit and stuff, I think he doesn't even care or not care. He doesn't bother talking to you at first because he doesn't have the ability to get through the multiple layers at first. Where like I do. Like I'll come to you with something and you'll immediately hit it with the defense. What?
I'm listening.
You'll immediately hit it with the defense, and I know you don't mean what you're saying. I know that that's how you react to things. So then I can break through it a little bit, and I know that I can get to the answer. Bryce, I don't think he knows that. So he'll come to you and you'll say like, oh, Bryce, you just got to man up a little bit. Like, you're fine. And then that shuts him down right away. So then he's like, you know what I mean? I think I'm making sense.
I think you are making sense. I hear you, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with everything you're saying, but I do hear you.
What don't you agree with?
First of all, I think that,
and I'm not saying this is bad at all. Talking.
It's not ruining our relationship, so I'm not worried about that. But I like to believe that all my kids can come to me for everything. I really do. I like to, no matter good or bad, and I have a different relationship with every one of my kids, and all my kids have different personalities. I can't change their personalities and for me, I literally, Bryce, you or Burke, I literally have made it very clear that all my boys can come to me.
And that's not what I'm saying.
I understand that.
Because we all know we can definitely. Right.
And we'll always
don't you understand that like if I come to you or if you go to someone, right? Like if you went to mom, if you were, which happens sometimes.
Mom is easier to go.
No, but like if this happens sometimes and I witness it, you'll go to mom with a question and she'll be occupied with something else. And so she won't really be focused on you. And you will be like, what the fuck? And then you like get annoyed and you leave it. So when you come to which I know I can always come to you, but then if sometimes I come to you and you like aren't as receptive as I would want you to be or whatever, then it turns me off. Even though I know that right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't find that the case with me and you, but I think Bryce finds that the case with you. I don't know if Burke does. I don't think I've witnessed enough of Burke and you and your emotional. I don't even know. Does Burke go through stuff like that? Does Burke ever come to you with it? Like
Burke comes to me for a lot of advice. He does. Well, listen, I get it. I wouldn't want any of my kids to feel that they couldn't come to you for anything. So, I've had Bryce and I've talked and texted and communicated about different things, and that I'm always here from an anything, and he knows that. But so Bryce might have a harder time. I can't look. Every kid is different.
Like because Bryce, I feel like sorry, and Bryce is definitely listening to this. So sorry, we're sharing all this stuff about you without your permission, but I don't think you care. But like Bryce is a good example of those traits. Like Bryce is a big guy right? He's very physical. He is muscular. He played football. He's a frat bro. He's always pinned as like a typical guy jock, which means that he's not allowed to be emotional. In society, someone like that, a physically large, strong, football playing frat brother is not allowed to cry. People will be like, what the fuck are you doing, pussy? Right? Like that. Mm-hmm. So then, but then the thing with Bryce is he's not that. He's not the strong jock,
he's
muscular.
He's sensitive.
Right. Bryce is an emotional, sensitive, kind person, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
thing.
Bryce is an emotional like pussy.
Bryce is the best.
He doesn't, his emotional state doesn't fit his physical state.
He's a sweet, nice boy.
So I think Bryce finds it hard because society has created these stereotypes that Bryce doesn't fit in, but he looks like he should. So I think Bryce finds it hard because which I've talked about this, he said like, no, but I have to no, I shouldn't feel like I shouldn't think about that, or I shouldn't keep, like he has convinced himself about that too. I'm like, no, Bryce, it's okay to feel upset about something. It's okay to cry. It's okay to, but he's like, no, I gotta toughen up. I gotta be, and I think him trying to reconcile both of those is why he might have a harder time going through certain things than like I do, because society doesn't put as much pressure on me. Like I've always felt like if I cry, I don't give a shit. If like people won't give a shit. I think Bryce feels like if he was caught crying or being emotional, people would like look at him differently.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to even say to that. I mean, that's something that what could we do? I mean, that's something that Bryce has to mature emotionally and maybe over time to learn to maybe be more comfortable with how he wants to be and who he wants to be, and not, so look, I get it. I was raised by a real hard ass father. So, I mean, you guys have no fucking clue about being raised by, I couldn't even have the kind of relationship you and I have and what we do.
But do you think that was basically what I'm trying to get at is like, do you think that that's beneficial, or do you think like what we have is more beneficial than what you and Pa had? And do you think what me and my son have or will have, because I'll probably even be more open in emotions than you were with me, and you're way more open than Pa was with you. So do you think that's a good evolutionary cycle or not?
I think it's good and bad.
Right. I agree. I think it's good and bad.
I think it's very nice to have a open, healthy relationship with your parents and or children. I think it's very healthy. But in the same token, I think that it could sometimes make people soft and have that parachute and take away, let me finish for a second, okay? And take away the drive. I'm a firm believer, and Mom and I are at fault to this, where I think adversity builds strength and character. I think perseverance, I indicate all the time, is a huge way of living life. I think not being the victim, not knowing your parents, though, you can always fall back on mommy and daddy. And those are important traits and characteristics that help shape a person to become successful. And because life is full of ups and downs and hard times and good times. And it's what separates, I'm going to say, the men from the boys getting through the hard times.
I agree with you.
And I think the coddling behavior, I think breastfeeding them till the age of 50 years old, figuratively speaking, of course. I think them knowing that we're always there for you and we'll help you out financially if you ever get in trouble, things like that. I think those are, people do that of love and not meanness, but they're a disservice. I think that tough love doesn't mean I don't love you, but tough love is a important thing. For example, when all my fucking kids graduate college, the money fucking stops. I'm not trying to be a dick, but otherwise, where's the incentive? It's like feeding a wild animal. They'll never be able to go back out into the world and eat on their own. So I think it's a balancing. I think the fact that you have Mom, who's a little more, not a negative, softer, a little more understanding.
And the balance of you and Mom, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's, also that's, even if we're talking like about nature and evolution, like that's why that evolved for like couples to form between a man and a woman, because they bring different things to the table
differently. And,
right.
And I'm very old fashioned. I believe I have my roles. Mom has her roles, and And I know people don't like that. They think it's somewhat chauvinistic, but I believe in that when raising children. And even our dog, when you look at Banks, the difference in how he knows I'm the alpha as opposed to mom. You know, he
doesn't listen to mom at all. And when I come in and say something, he listens right away.
So it's a different thing. So for example,
because mom spoils him and gives into him and allows him to not listen.
Or even when you look at
she doesn't mean to.
Even look at Zerai, how when I say no, she immediately stops and pouts. So I say it once and it's done, as opposed to the you take one more step off that curb, you're in trouble,
right.
And then you do it again. With me,
I think it's beneficial for a kid to have that both of those. It's the yin and the yang. I think that's helpful.
So with you guys, I sometimes, and timing's everything. Like, you can't bother me the minute I get home, or you can't tell me, like when Burke will say, Dad, my fraternity dues were due 4 days ago. Like, now you fucking tell me, like, it ain't. So it should be my problem that you're 4 days behind when you should have given me enough to ample notice to discuss it with you. And why are you assuming I'm automatically paying your fraternity dues? I pay for your college. Maybe you should fucking have some skin in the game. So these are things where I could say, sure, here's $3,000. But my point is, if you do it so easily, and so there's nothing wrong where if a kid should be a little nervous to ask his dad something, it's called a respect. I still think there should be a little fear. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not your buddy. I know we do this, but I'm your father first. I'm not your fucking buddy.
And as we even talked about in the live episode, I was like, I don't know if I want us to be buddies. Correct. I like our relationship as father and son. I love
our relationship. Okay. And I feel we've evolved to a much better relationship. And there are many things where like equals, where I feel like you are my buddy in certain ways, but I'm not your fucking buddy. I'm your parent. You know that.
And that's how I want it. Correct. I like that.
So I do feel bad. There's the part of me that makes me sad that if my kids wouldn't want to come to me, but I'm also okay if they want to go to mom first. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I also think it's very beneficial. I've learned this throughout my life that and it's made me a lot more confident in myself. Because there have been hard times where I've went through physically and emotionally, right? Like when I went to Turtle Island, that was like a physically hard time. I was like,
and mentally.
Yeah, right. But
just so you know, Turtle Island's a thing where you go away for a month and you live off the land. It's not one of those outward bound things. It's where you literally.
It was a compound in the middle of the woods
in North Carolina.
And it was a survivalist.
And you learn how to survive community. And live off the land. And he chose, and he bathed in
There's no running water, no electricity, no even buildings.
We were nervous to let him go, but he wanted to do it. And the first 4 or 5 days you were miserable, right?
Well, I remember. So I remember I was miserable the first couple of days because it was so out of my comfort zone, right?
Correct.
Like there's no showers, there's no beds. You sleep on a wooden platform outside,
like a lean-to.
Yeah, and so there's no walls or anything. So I remember the first night I was up all night because it was so loud around me. I could hear all the animals. I could hear things, and I was terrified.
I don't blame you.
So the first couple of days were really hard. I was like 12 or 13, and I remember writing a letter to you guys to come and pick me up. I was like, I want to come home, whatever. And I remember I said to myself, you wait 2 more days, and then if you still feel this way, you can send it.
You're uniquely mature.
But then after those 2 days, I adapted, I got comfortable, and I loved it. And it was one of the best experiences of my life, that camp. I loved it. And to this day, I always can look back on that time and think that I was able to process my own problem and figure it out on my own
growth.
Right. So that's what brought that story up, was that you said, I always would want my kids to come to me. But then part of me was like, I do think it is beneficial though, to go through things on your own.
Try to figure it out.
Fail on your own, get to be at rock bottom on your own, and pick yourself up by your own bootstraps instead of someone else doing it.
You know why?
And because then when you get back, then you're like, oh shit, I did that myself. Right. And you know that you can get through it again.
It empowers you.
Right.
Okay. So when I hiked Kilimanjaro, okay, and it was 9 days in a tent, hiking, no shower. I'll tell you, the first 2-3 days, you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
Like same thing when you're going through. It's so depressing. No toilets, no shower, nothing. You're in your tent by yourself. You're like, oh my God, I'm not going to fucking make it. And then you get adapt to it. And then when you finish, you look back and right when you're by yourself, you say, I can fucking conquer anything.
Right.
That's why.
And now I know to this day, whenever I'm uncomfortable in a situation, or I'm like, this is difficult or whatever, I know that I'm like, oh, I'll get through it.
What's the one word that I always say?
perseverance.
There you go. But is
Yeah.
that the truth? So now when you look back, so when I did Kilimanjaro, it was to be outside my comfort zone because I'm a germaphobe, right? Big time. That I can look back and say, I'm a member of an elite group, that I did something that most people couldn't, like Turtle Island. I couldn't fucking live 4 weeks in that wilderness like that. You look back and you say, so there's nothing you can't do.
Right.
So I want to divert back a little bit, but when I want my kids to come to me for everything, doesn't mean I'm going to be there. I'll be there emotionally. I'll help my kids. But, and I would feel terrible if my kids didn't feel comfortable, because I never felt comfortable going to my parents. It wasn't that kind of relationship.
But this is what I like is complicated about it, because
But did it make me who I am?
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like
and
20 minutes ago in this conversation, I was saying, I think it's great to be able to share whatever you want and stuff, but I also do think that your generation of adults, like, were really successful in your lives, and even my grandparents' generation was even more successful.
Right.
I think a majority of the reason why they were successful was because they were like
independent,
it's do or die. Like no one's going to help me. And they knew that from birth. They were like raised in an environment where it was like, you had other things to worry about than your emotions.
Right. Today, it's like, when we grew up, we literally drank out of a fucking hose. We literally ran with scissors in our hands. We literally did not put a seatbelt on.
Right, and if you hurt yourself, then you learned and you didn't do it again.
So to me, right, so I remember this analogy, and this is the truth. I remember when Burke was little and I coached his flag football, and I remember like it was yesterday. It was the cutest fucking thing. And we, there was in South County Park, there was a chain between the two little
We've told this story on the podcast a couple episodes ago.
But that's a major thing, because he chose, and I could have said, I'll take, oh, it's okay, baby. But he scraped his knee, made the choice. Look, here's what saddens me as a father is I love you guys. You guys, your brothers and your mom are my world. I know I'm not the easiest. I know I might not even agree, but I think, like you always said, I'm fair. Okay. So it would sadden me to all end if you guys didn't feel comfortable coming to me. So one thing
that's not true. I can't speak for my brothers, but I think that we all are comfortable coming to you.
So like,
but I think it might be
harder for, let's say, certain kids.
Right. That's so. But I think it's beneficial that you are a little more tough love than like emotion. I think it's beneficial.
But I've grown, and mom is softer than I am. So maybe the kid who in our family that doesn't feel comfortable coming initially might go to mom, and then mom will talk to me, which is fine. Then I go to whichever child it is. But the other day, Brooke was like, so I'm like, he asked me something and I said, no. I go, why would you even ask me? He says, don't have the right to ask. I go, you absolutely do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so he said to me, like, I'm thinking like, why would you fucking ask me? There's no way I'm doing that. But he says, I have the right to ask. And there's truth to that. I come from that position where I was like, why would you ask me? Because I would never even ask my father. It was out of the fucking question. Just some things I never would go to my parents. I'm not saying it's right, but it made me who I am. So I think there's a balancing. Yeah. I think that too much.
But then it also made your brother who he is, which is interesting because that's kind of the opposite of you in terms of your like extreme work dedication and stuff like that. You guys are very different.
So I think
that's interesting because
Bronson, there is a genetic component.
Yeah, there definitely is.
And there's a nature component. So I think, for example, there's a time where you're born in each household. I think that,
birth order definitely affects things. Being the oldest, I think that shaped who I am a lot. So it made me more independent than my brothers.
So you don't think the fact that, I lost an older brother who would have been probably 58, who was 2 years older than my brother, Brant right now. So back then, crazy shit, maybe.
Right, and Brant then had to step into the mantle of the oldest son.
Or maybe, and my mother, who I think had a nervous breakdown, and back in the 50s, it was different back then, and whatever, and who the fuck knows? There's so many factors.
And wasn't Uncle Lloyd, who was your oldest brother, wasn't he like great too? Like he was always like...
What do you mean?
Like, in every family, there's a kid who's like always do it like successful. Like he always listened to mom and dad. Like I'm kind of the, not to pat myself on the back, but you know, there's always a kid who like when you're growing up, there's like the brother that the other brothers always look up to and the parents always compare. Why can't you be more like this brother? Why can't you be more like that?
I don't think that was the case.
Because that could explain things if then Uncle Brian had to step into those shoes.
No, I don't think that was the case. I think that he got a little bit of the raw deal in the sense where because he came in after my mom lost the son, and back then it would have been different today, but back then, you know, my dad was a workaholic. That's what he used to provide. That's all he was did, and there was not the emotional health and help aspect of there as there is today, and I think that just was a circumstance. But I think there's definitely a nature and nurture component. However, for someone like me, you know, I love my parents, but they're not the kind of parents. Look, they paid for my school and they gave me, you know, a roof over my head and taught me certain values, but they're not like I am to you guys. But maybe I love you guys too much, and maybe you guys we give too much to, and therefore it takes the hunger away, and you know, so who knows? But to get
there's
back,
no right answer either.
It's a hard balance. But what I'm saying is, to go back to the original part, I don't think. I love my kids to come to me for anything they want to come to me about, but I don't think everything needs a discussion. Sometimes, for example, you need to say, suck it up, Nancy, put your big boy pants on and fucking get out there and do what you got to do.
Yeah. I don't like agreeing with that, but I agree with it.
I don't want to sound like a dick. For example, do you remember when you were going through, when you graduated, and I give you a lot of street creds, man, you graduated college a year early. You had enough credits. You fucking went on your own, moved out to California. We helped you a little bit, you know, but you moved out. You didn't know a single soul. You wanted to be in LA because of the film industry. You did it. And then, you know, there were all these projects. That's how LA is. And you go from job to job to job because that's just the way it is.
Freelance,
unless you're like in TV and you have a continued running show. So, you know, it was time that and you were young, I get it. And you were out of job like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, and you were losing your fucking mojo, which I get. And you would get, I think, in a little bit.
Which we talked about on this podcast.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did a whole episode.
We did with Bryce. I think, didn't we talk about?
No, we did a whole episode where I was talking about that, and I was saying, because Bryce is starting to go through some of that, and I was trying to explain to him, look, this is, but we talked about that, but
right.
What were you going?
So my point, so your mom and I would say, we would try to, you know, we had to handle you with like kid gloves and how to massage the conversation, but when we get the phone, we're like, he's got to fucking man up. That's what mom and I say, not behind, we'd say behind closed doors when we went on the phone. Right. Like, you know, he's got to fucking man up. And I would tell you, everyone gets a job when they're older. Everybody's working. You're only 23.
But that was the first time I ever went through something like that. So now if I were to do that again, I would think I know I would handle it very differently. I know I wouldn't spiral down into like a place like that.
No, but it's okay.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is like that. I didn't know how to navigate those feelings. Now that I got through it, this was my main point, like with Turtle Island as well. Like now that I've gotten through one of those hard points in my life, if it were to happen again, I know that I can get through it. Because I've done it before. So now I wouldn't be worried. You know, like if I got fired tomorrow, I wouldn't be worried because I know that I would be fine. But when the first time that it ever happens to you, you don't know because it's never happened.
Even being fired, you have a right to be worried. Something like that would be a terrible thing. But worried
is maybe not the right word, but listen, getting down on yourself.
You know, one thing my dad told me is like, look, you got to work fucking 2-3 jobs. You work fucking 2-3 jobs. I don't give a shit. If you got to wait tables, you wait fucking tables. Money's money. You're never too proud to make $1. Whatever you got to fucking do to make ends meet and keep the roof over your head, you fucking do it. But today's day and age is like, well, you don't like that job. Let's get you a job that you actually like. You know, to me, I think
I don't know if that's beneficial to society as a whole.
It's not.
I like living in that culture because it is easier on you mentally.
It makes sense.
I think it's better on an individual level, but I think as a society, that makes us for a very bad society.
A job's a job, man. You got to make ends meet. You got to. You do what you got to do.
95% of the people in this world are unremarkable, are not special, are not anything interesting, and are just normal run-of-the-mill people.
That's okay.
Which is okay. But in the culture that I grew up in, we were all taught that we are extremely unique and special and valued.
There's nothing you can't do. Right. You're the smartest.
And I don't think that is good at all.
No, it's not. It's setting up for failure.
Yeah.
But so let's go back to where we were originally. So I would love my kids to come to me for everything. I will not agree with everything. I will always be their parent, always support them and love them. I'm not going to be there giving handouts. And if sometimes my kids think I'm tougher than mom, then go to mom and let mom talk to me or let you guys convince me. But I do want you guys to feel that you can come to me for anything.
Which I think we do.
And I hope so. Because it would make me sad if you didn't feel comfortable to talk to me. But it's not such a bad thing to try to work things out on your own first.
100. I agree with that.
Not if you're doing something stupid. I mean, like, well, it's borderline gray criminal. I'm gonna try to, you know what I'm saying? But my point is,
there's a difference too between coming to you for advice and coming to you with like a problem. Those are different.
You can come to me for both. It'd be my pleasure.
But like
advice, I'm always there to give advice. And come to your problem, I would love to help you with your problem. But
I do think that there are certain times where you should like, because I do this most of the time with myself. It's my problem. I feel like I should figure it out on my own, which I don't know if that's good or bad. That's kind of what this article talks about.
No. You could listen, you don't have to try to, first of all, figuring out the problem on your own is not such a bad thing. It's like sort of figuring out a puzzle in school or whatever it is. Try to figure something out on your own.
Right. But I think that also is a very masculine thing. Women don't.
They talk about it all so much.
When women have a problem, they go to other women to share the problem, and they all problem solve like together out loud. Men are taught, and I think a little bit of it is biological. I think a little bit is nurture, and a little bit is nature of this. I think it's a little bit how we're raised and our culture, and how we're born. But when men encounter a problem, the immediate thought is no one else will care about this problem like I do. Like no one, I don't want to waste people's time with bringing up my problem. It's my problem, right? Like that's how I think, definitely. But I don't know if that's bad necessarily.
But is it? But to me, I don't know. It's part of fucking life. Do I need to share everything about my life with everything? It has to be a conversation. You just fucking live life and do it.
Right, but also there are certain things that are helped by other people.
So then you talked about it with either your friends, your girlfriend, your wife. But
basically, what I'm saying is a lot of men feel like they can't. A lot of men are taught that they can't.
I get it. Okay, but I can't.
I'm not.
Listen,
but even I am, and I feel like I'm even lucky in terms of that.
Okay, if men want to talk about it with somebody else, they need to try to talk about it. If they're uncomfortable, then they get into therapy and try to work it out.
Don't you agree that society,
I do,
kind of shits on men and their emotions?
Yes, because then you're weak.
Right, exactly. Women and men.
Yes,
society at large.
No, the women want. That's why I said the women want the men to be women, and they want the men to be men. It's a tough.
Yes, I've found that women in theory they want you to be emotional and share your problems, but they don't in practice.
So Brene Brown is a great therapist. She's phenomenal. She has all these great TED Talk, all these podcasts. She's great. She says a great thing. She said the women want the men to ride on the white knight on the white horse and whatever, and that's great. But what happens when he falls off the horse? Right? Your fucking knight in shining armor is coming in to save the day. But what happens if he falls off the horse? He's a human being. What happens at that point?
Right. Like
the women want that fucking the knight in shining armor, but they don't want to fall off the horse.
No, I think men, especially like in relationships, when women experience failure, the men always have to be there for them and support them and whatever.
Right.
When the men experience failure,
the woman doesn't want to hear it.
The woman often, I don't know, this might be very like grossly over exaggerating and overgeneralizing, but I feel like when men experience failure, it kind of women retract. It makes them like the man less.
Correct. He's not a man.
Right.
He didn't provide. He's a loser. It's a problem.
And that's hard on men.
Yes.
As a society. That's kind of what I was saying. And I think that's where I agree with the certain parts of the toxic masculinity, which I don't like that term, but I do agree that there are certain parts of what society deems masculinity that are not helpful to society at large. So, but then I don't know what the answer is. There isn't one.
But so then like, there's white male, the privilege, this, that, even one more thing to make a man to have to live up to this whole image shit. And it's not easy. Listen, it's not easy for a guy to have to be a father, have to provide. His sense of self-worth comes to his level of success, whatever that means. And having to have money, having to put a roof over your head, having to deal with asshole employer, having to, physically deal with that. Then you got to come home and you got to deal with the nagging. I'm making a general statement, nagging wife or the kids. And then you got to be on the weekends. You got no time to yourself because you got to be with the wife and the kids and doing that stuff and all these things for the benefit of them. And you're like, when does it end? And it's exhausting. Yeah. So the man has and the man, God forbid, the guy says to his wife, I feel this way or I feel that way. The women say they want to hear it, but I don't think they really want to hear it. I think
I haven't felt like, me and listeners of the podcast know me, that I'm much more like open and accepting of things, right? Can say confidently that I agree with you in that statement. I have felt that women in general in society don't care about men's emotions. They just genuinely don't care.
I agree.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't need them to care.
Because you bleed too. No, listen.
But then also men care about women's emotions.
We have to.
Like as a man, you're taught that like when you have a girlfriend, when you have a wife, like half of your job of being a good husband or being a good boyfriend,
sure she's happy.
Right, is to always tend to her needs and make sure that make sure that she's happy and stuff.
Is she taught to make sure your needs are happy?
I don't know if they are. I can't. I'm a guy, so I can't speak what women are taught. But I've never felt that my emotions, when I'm being truly emotional, like vulnerable, right? That's like the perfect word, vulnerable. I felt that women don't really care that much about it.
I agree with you.
But then again, do I really care so much when a woman is being? Yeah, I guess I do. I don't know. It's just it's a complicated thing.
I think that women say they want to,
and we are definitely generalizing, of course, because there are definitely, mom is a great example of, I know I could go to mom with whatever and be as vulnerable as I want, and I know she genuinely will do anything to make sure that the problem is solved or that I feel better. Like, she will put my emotions over her own emotions. So, and she's a woman. So I'm not saying like all women, but I think society at large, not an individual level.
You're making a general statement, which I get.
But I just want to give the caveat that this is a generalization I'm making.
Well, right. And it's an opinion and it's a general statement. But I agree. I think women, like I said, they want the man to ride in the knight in the shining armor. But what happens if he falls off the horse? And that's a perfect example. There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, well, even think about it like in terms of a knight. If a knight falls off the horse and they lose, it's like, oh, you're out. You lost your knighthood. You're
a failure.
Right, you're a failure. You're not right. The noble man anymore.
Forget about the 20 other wars that you won. This is the last one we're going to remember. You fell to fucking, you know what?
That's definitely how society treats men. Right, absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
And you don't think
I think that's why a lot of men are having having a hard time in the last couple of years, because they're like, I don't know where I fit into society, because it feels like society doesn't really want me or value me.
Or what about the stress with work? What about the stress of money?
Yeah.
Right? Or having money and stability. And by the way, as a man, right or wrong, I'm not making a judgment call, and I'm not saying this way we're taught. There's a lot of self-worth to your having money. There's a lot of self-worth at being a man.
To your job, your mojo, to the caliber of your job.
Your mojo. Feeling successful, feeling empowered.
That was the main reason why, when I was unemployed, that was the main reason. I didn't even know that I didn't think that would affect me at all, because I don't care about that. I don't care about people's social status. I don't care about people's jobs. But when you're on the other side of it and you're like, I'm not making money, what is the point of my life?
Your self-worth. I'm talking about you as a man. Okay. So for example, I feel better about myself if I'm physically in shape, if I feel I look good, if I feel healthy, if I feel I'm working and being productive in a society, and
if you're like winning at things, like if you're getting new deals and you're getting,
and if I'm making money, that gives me self-worth. Sitting on the couch watching fucking TV, eating bonbons and gaining weight and not doing
bonbons, you always go to that.
But my point,
I agree 100%.
And not doing anything productive. That's why I don't even know if I can even retire. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There needs to be productivity. So anyone, listen, if I was knocking wood, I don't want to jinx myself, but if I was unemployed for 2-3 months, I might too lose my mojo. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's easy. That's where the man's self-worth comes from.
But do you think that's helpful? That like,
why not?
As men, we're taught our self-worth comes from working.
No.
That's are we just slaves to society?
No. See, I call productive. There's different. Working as a negative connotation.
Women are taught I don't know. What are women taught? I'm not a woman, so I don't really know. I don't think women are taught that their self-worth comes from their work.
No, but I think
men are.
I think that a lot of women.
I wonder what they are taught in that.
By what the children they raise.
Yeah,
the life,
family that they create.
The
I think
life
is where
they
their
live.
self-worth comes from.
Listen, the life they live, the memories they created.
But see, I'd rather be on that side. I'd rather be on the side where my self-worth comes from the life I've created.
From your role.
Right,
Bronson,
but you have to get through it.
No,
you have to get to it through
Bronson,
work.
No, Bronson.
So I'm just a slave.
No, you're not a slave. Your role. You have a role. Okay, back in the caveman days, the men fucking left for days to go hunt, to go ahead and bring back food so their family could be safe.
Right, but so I was born in this earth. My whole existence is to just work and work and work and work, and then I die.
No,
it's like, what the fuck? Then what is life? Then what's the point? You know?
Do we not take off 2-3 months a year and travel?
Right, but but so you work to live.
No.
But like, what a bad sentence. I hate when people say, I work to live, I don't live to work. And it's like, but working to live sounds horrible. Why can't I just live to live? But that's not the world, I guess.
And do what?
No, I know.
So
I know that's not the reality, but it's just.
By the way, everybody has a different view of what life is. For example, I always say this. The guy who comes up from Mexico, who works in landscaping and has no money, and doesn't speak a word of English, but wants to come here to Ben, sends all his money home to his family. And might make 20 grand a year. He 100% loves his children as much as I love you guys. There's no doubt, right? Just because I buy you more things doesn't mean I love you more. Would you agree with that? Mm-hmm. 100% love. Everyone has a different view of what they want to do, raise their families and so forth. So he's not sending his kids to private school or private colleges. He's not. He can't afford it. We know that, correct? Right? So again, it doesn't make me a better father if I buy you cars and he can't afford to buy his kids' car. He loves his children just as much as I do. We made choices. So you could say, Dad, I don't want to work as hard as you worked. I rather be home by 3. That's your choice. So right. you need to make enough money for your high lifestyle that you want to live, or you have to lessen your lifestyle.
No, I know. I get it.
Negative.
It's just weird that we've created, like, because we created the world. Like the world, society, or we didn't create the world. We created society. So we created a system that enslaved ourselves because money is we're all slaves to money. We created that. We made a world where it's like you're born, you work, and you die. It's not so that you can have like little bits in between that are enjoyable.
But first, you're born and you die, right? So there's one. There's no.
But like, couldn't we have created a world where? I mean, that's kind of like how it was in other. I mean, I guess that's just what life is. You just have to work.
No, they fucking traded goats.
Even like animal, like a lion pride. Every day they wake up and they go hunt, and that's their work.
Money is the dollar. Whatever, or the form is nothing more than a form of exchange. Before there was currency, they dealt with fucking goats and things like that. Now it's crypto, things that I don't even understand.
Right, but like, can't we create? I feel like can't we create a society where it's just like we live to live? We don't live to work, and we don't work to live.
Yeah, that goes back to your organized chaos theory. I'm not going to that whole meaning like you need with structure, no structure. Why don't we just all be fucking lifeguards and live on the beach? It doesn't work that way. My point. I like my.
I know it doesn't work that way. It's idealistic.
I just want to go
utopian,
back.
Even.
Right. I just want to go back. That people in general need a purpose. Without a purpose, you lose your identity, you lose your self-worth, you lose your mojo, and you don't know what you're doing on this planet.
Mm-hmm, I agree.
Whatever that purpose is, I don't know. Everybody finds their own different path, and they're allowed to find their own path because my motto is live and let live. But you need a purpose. So when you sit on the couch all day and do nothing productive, you feel like a loser. You feel like you're not being productive. You feel like you're not contributing. We must all contribute in one way or the other way. We contribute to our family, our friends, ourselves, society. If we're not moving forward and we're just standing still, then we are going backwards because life is going forward. So therefore, you want to lose weight? Stop with the fucking diet. Stop with the pills. You diet and you work out. There's no free ride. That's what life is. There's nothing wrong with us working. It gives us a sense of independence. It gives us a sense of self-worth. Working is an okay thing, but it all comes down to purpose in life. Okay? That's what's important. That's what you teach your children. And then how you live your life is up to you as long as it works for you and you're not affecting anybody else. But to go back to the situation where we talked about where not every problem needs to be discussed. sometimes, it's like I call it pillow thought. You go to bed at night, you have your own thoughts. They're your thoughts.
Right.
You're allowed your thoughts. That's what the beauty in your brain. No one can fucking tap into that. You want to talk to mom and me about something? We're here for you. We're here for all you boys. We hope you feel comfortable. The beauty is, if there's something you don't feel comfortable coming to us, you probably will go to each of your brothers because you might feel that's more appropriate.
And then even then, I think at the end of the day, it is still like important. At sometimes you just have to man up and just be like, yeah, okay, I'll get through it.
And I don't want to say like, don't ever come to me, because I want you to come to me. But there's not something bad. Like if you were ever in a bind, you can always come to us no matter what. But at some point, it's not so bad trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
It's like when you were in Turtle Island, I was in Kilimanjaro, whatever. It's empowering, and that's why I'm saying when you go through certain things that have adversity, it makes you stronger. Rather than me saying, for example, and this is exactly when I grew up and I was bullied, I either went to my brother who kicked those guys' asses, and now I became a fucking martial artist. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be bullied. Not instead, let's sit and talk about every little thing. Someone could break in your house. If you don't believe in guns, that's fine and respected. You have a baseball bat there. If you're out of shape, you're not in the martial arts, what are you going to do to protect your family? Mm-hmm. I say this to my friends all the time. I have this one guy, he's fat fuck, nice Jewish guy. I say to him, I go, what are you going to do to protect your family? You don't believe in guns. You're not a martial artist. You're not in shape. You're going to talk to the fucking guy when you walk with your wife and your kids. Yeah. My role is to protect the family. That's my role. I make sure the doors are locked, the alarm is on. When I'm out, I check my surroundings. I make sure you and your brothers and your mom are protected. If I was some fat little fucking nebbishy Jewish kid that had nothing, whatever, what am I going to do? Excuse me, can you not bother us, please? Give me a fucking break. So that's my role. Now, everyone has a different view of what they want to do. For me, that's the situation. So I want you kids to come to me for anything you need to. Mom and I love you. If you don't feel comfortable enough coming to me, you go to mom. She'll talk to me. I always come around. I might not agree. I might say no. I'll always be fair. But you guys should come to me. And also, as time goes on in life, you realize as you mature. Remember, you now 25 from when you were 20. Big difference.
Big difference.
Okay, so when you look at Bryce, who's 22, okay, and you're now 25, big difference in maturity.
Yes.
Plus, you were always more mature. You were our most mature out of all our three kids. So Bryce might go have a little tougher time.
Suck it, Bryce and Burke.
No, listen. Bryce might have a little bit of a tougher time with this or whatever, but everybody finds their path. They know we're here.
Well, not everybody, but Bryce and Burke will. A lot of people don't find their paths,
That's
especially
true.
nowadays.
You're right. I that came out wrong.
I feel like every year it gets more and more. It's like, oh yeah, that's a lost soul. Every year.
But you know why? Because we can't coddle everybody. That's the problem. We have to give people. You have to.
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
A notification from my computer.
We have to teach people to have a sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to teach people.
But society takes that every year. Society takes it more away, more and more.
We literally, when I say we're creating, I use the word pussies. Let's say soft people. Okay, when you create somebody so soft, you're taking their own dignity and pride. People feel better earning it. People feel better fighting for it. People feel better doing their own. Remember when you kids were little, and we have friends, we see this all the time, even at your age. When the waiter comes, when you were little, I'd say, tell the waiter what you want. I can order for you. Tell him what you want. Or if you want to go to the bathroom when you're little, I go, you go to the bathroom. I watch the front door,
right,
and you go to the bathroom. Because seriously, am I going to order for you? You want to be independent. People want to be independent.
And it's hard because it comes from good places, but it's very detrimental.
It comes from, but the helicopter mom, so to speak, that label is a disservice.
Oh, absolutely.
We know you love
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But in 2021, still do it.
Don't you always hear me say, love your kids, but don't love them too much? Mm-hmm. There's truth to that because you need to be independent because I'm not going to be here. So as society, when we start creating all these labels, and we'll wrap it up soon. When we start creating all these labels, Bronson, with everybody, am I boring?
No. Okay. That was a big yawn.
When we start creating all these,
you're going to catch it in a second.
When we start creating all these labels out there, and everything's a label, and we create this divisiveness and so forth, and everybody gets like the whole trophy theory. Okay, it's a disservice. Okay, the kid might not have ADD. He just might be an overactive fucking kid. Lay off the fucking.
And even if he has ADD, doesn't need to be on medication.
Of course not. But it's the labels. So to me,
they need to get extra time in class, so they need to get
But what about you? So your kid eats McDonald's all the time and eats sugar all the time and play fucking video games. You wonder why your kid has ADD. or lay off the fucking Diet Coke and lay off the fat foods, and your kids will lose weight. But the parents can't get the shit together. The teachers can't get the shit together. The government's so fucking involved. It's a problem. And this goes back to making everybody equal when they're not equal is a disservice to the individual they want to make equal. You can't bring somebody up who should be a painter and make the person a doctor. It does not work. I hate to say that. It does not work. You're setting the kid up for failure.
And also society needs painters and doctors,
Correct.
not all doctors or not all painters.
You have to know your limitations, which is okay. But you can't set people up for failure because once they fail and drop that, and that's a fucking far drop, then it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're good?
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Join all our shit. Join our Patreon. Go check out daddyissuesthepodcast.com/shop and buy our merch if you like it. I mean, how could you not look at that shit?
Yes, this was an interesting podcast because one thing, some of the comments, and we don't know, we can get your feedback. You can DM Bronson. Some of the comments we were getting that they like people, the viewers and listeners want to hear more dialogue like this, as opposed to more political shit. So we don't know. I mean, we're just trying something.
I thought this was interesting, a different kind of episode.
Yes,
we didn't talk about a single political thing.
No trigger.
No triggers.
You threw me back a little bit when you said that you can't come to me, but
I never said I can't come to you.
Correct.
I think when you listen back, when we both listen back, I don't think I said anything.
You made a lot of sense. My first defense is to be like, and
your first defense is no to everything, which is just who you are. It's not bad or good.
Right,
it's just who you are.
Right. And then
Mom even said that on the Mommy Issues episode. She goes, your first defense is everything is to everything is no. And you
have
go
to say that to your mom.
And you said, no, it's not. And it's like, yes, there you go. You just did it.
I have to say it to mom. Otherwise she'd spend
You'd
too
be
much.
broke.
Yeah. I have to say no always to mom first, but you know, my intentions are in the right spot.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Love you, Bron.
Love you too, Dad.
All
and
right.
love you guys listening.
Thank you guys for everything.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.